Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I hope you're well, inshallah. So, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at a additional concept which is worth just having in your repertoire as you begin and develop your understanding of the Arabic language. So, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to introduce this in English first. Okay, now we have in English, we have what's called an infinitive noun. Okay, so an infinitive noun. Okay, and an infinitive noun basically is an ism, as you know already, right? But it's a special type of ism. What we do is we take the word and we basically put to before it. Okay, so for example, to ask. Okay, now what you'll notice here is asking. Ask or asking is a verb, right? But by putting to before it, it becomes what's called a masdar. So this is a masdar. Okay, so let me write that down for you. Masdar or masdar. Okay, so you have an infinitive noun, and it's a noun, but by putting the word to before it, you make it into a masdar, right? So it was a verb, but as you put to before it, it becomes an infinitive noun. I've actually spelled it wrong. It should be infinitive. So I'm going to cross that out and just write infinitive. Infinitive noun. Okay, very, very easy. All you have to remember is there's a to before it. So to ask, to eat, to drink. A second type you often have as well is what's called a gerund. Okay, and all this does is at the end of a word. So let's take our word again, ask. Let's take our word ask, which is again a verb. But what you're going to do is put ing at the end. Asking. And that makes it into a masdar as well. Okay. I think the translation they have for this is called a verbal noun. Okay. So you can, by putting to before it, you make it into an infinitive noun. And if you put ing at the end, you make it into a gerund. Okay. So the masdar is actually a noun. And how does this work? So let me just take you through some Arabic once you've understood an English. So we've done verbs already. So you have a verb like this. Sa'ala. Sa'ala is a verb. It's in the past tense. Okay, so sa'ala, to ask. Oh, sorry, the translation would be he asked. He asked. All right. Now, to make that into the present tense, the mudari, as you know, you would write yas'alu. So let me just get my pen ready. Yas'alu. Yas'alu. Right? He is asking, or he will ask in the future tense. Okay. Sa'ala yas'alu. So these are both verbs. Sa'ala yas'alu. And then you can make it into a masdar. I'll teach you how to make it into a masdar later in a separate video. But all you need to know right now is that you have what's called a masdar of it as well. So when we were studying, we'd have to relearn it this way. So you have the word su'alan. Su'alan. Sa'ala yas'alu su'alan. Okay. So these two are verbs, sa'ala and yas'alu. Sa'ala yas'alu are verbs. But the masdar here is a noun. Right? It's a noun. That's important to bear in mind. So that's the first thing to remember. So just to recap, you have sa'ala, yas'alu, which are both verbs. Okay, and you have su'alan, which is a masdar. Right? And that's called a noun, masdar. Masdar. Okay. The English equivalents, we have English equivalents. One of them is called the infinitive noun. okay, which basically means you put to before it, the noun, okay. So to ask, right? Or you put ing at the end, ing at the end, and it makes into a gerund, asking. Okay, so very easy to remember, to ask or asking, right? And that's called a verbal noun. Okay, now there's one more, which is, I'll just put it here, a third type if you like. Let's get back my colors. A verbal noun, and this is the one that we're doing, the verbal noun. Okay, this one here, which is really the third type, a verbal noun. And this really is basically something that doesn't have an element of action to it. So, for example, just question. Yeah. So you just question, basically. Question, right? So you have three types. You have three types of masdars. One is the infinitive noun, which has a to before it. One is a gerund, which has the word ing on it, ing. And the third type is basically where there's no element of action. So there's no action. Just asking. Just ask. Just question here. In this case, just question is there's no element of action there as well. Okay? And it can have its own plural as well, which I'll go into in a separate lesson. So this was just a basic introduction into Masdar. And they do come up quite a lot, but I'll bring more videos in to explain this. But all you need to know is the Masdar comes in three forms. Infinitive with a to before it. And one of the ways that you can remember it is that it has a T in it. Can you see? Infinitive. A gerund, the way to remember it has a G at the beginning, so there's a G at the end, asking. So that's one way you might want to remember it. Or it might just be a verbal noun which doesn't have any question. He doesn't have any action in it. Okay, and it can have a plural as well. So su'alan here, it's a singular, but it can also be as'ilatun. So the plural for this word, just for your benefit, is as'ilatun. Hope you found that useful. I'll do some more videos on adjectives soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.